evening, everyone. Welcome to the northeast side of Budapest in a town called Magyarod for the Hungarian Grand Prix here at the Hungaroring. Division 2 of the Midwest F1 League looks to take on this 14-corner, 4.3-kilometer circuit. The two DRS zones here, first heading down the pit straight and then immediately out of turn 1 as the grid heads into the rest of the winding downhill section that is Sector 2 with an average lap speed of 120 miles per hour. The tire compounds for this weekend are the C4, C3, and C2 compounds, so right smack dab in the middle of the Pirelli range here. And this is going to be an interesting qualifying session because I think when we talk tire strategy, when we get to the race, I think honestly, qualifying on the mediums is going to be the move here for this session. It's going to be, this is one of those races where that's going to be the case. Like, we don't have many of those races, you know, where qualifying on the medium compound is going to be better than qualifying on the soft. That just doesn't happen that often. I'm honestly a little surprised when I first loaded up the tire strategy when I went into a solo game that was kind of that's kind of how that played out. So that's going to be interesting to see. But here we are at the Hungaroring. I'm going to be completely honest with you, not my favorite track on the schedule. In fact, anything, I mean, that's pretty much as far away from my favorite track on the schedule as we could get. So a little bit of biasness there, but, you know. And I am hearing that we're going to have a full dry race and quali from both Will Anzai and Uncle Ben's race. As we see, who's going to be the first out of the garage here? It's going to be the Red Bull of, I believe that is Ray 46. Yeah, I think that's true. Actually, no. The answer is going to be Saffron City, who's starting on that medium compound. So we already see some drivers, the chance of hail is what Merpenselli goes and tells us here. But, you know, I'm a little surprised that not everyone has started on that medium compound. I really thought that was going to be the move. When we do talk tire strategy, that's going to be a big key factor in this race, is who uses their tires the best and who gets the most out of them, as this track is definitely one to eat up your tires. As we see Saffron City making it through the horribly tight Estes section of turns 6 and 7. Quite possibly the worst two corners on the Formula 1 schedule, if you ask me. Honestly, just a bit pointless, to be completely honest. Saffron City is going to be the first one to start a timed lap here. Now, he has chosen the medium compound. A lot of people are choosing medium compound. I'd say it's about an even 50-50 split of the field so far. We already have a yellow flag in Sector 2, but let's go along with a lap with Saffron City for his lap of the Hungaroring here in Magyarod. So going into turn 1, you kind of want a wide berth going into the corner. You cut off as much of the apex as you can, and then a good exit of turn 1 is going to provide you with a solid path down the DRS section. And into turn 2. Now this corner is very, very tricky because it's a winding corner down to the left. Very easy to get yourself out wide and mess up your line going into turn 3, which turn 3 not that big a deal. Now turn 4, very easy to invalidate track limits both on the inside and outside of the corner. Turn 5, don't use too much of that curb because I'm pretty sure everyone that plays this game has spun at least once in that section of the track. 6 and 7, very, very tricky portion of the track there. Just basically got to hit your line absolutely perfectly. 8 and 9, not really too much going out here. Just be wary of track limits on exit of turn 9. Turn 10, nothing too special here down this straight. Just, you know, getting a good entrance into turn number 12 is going to be a really key factor here. That's going to be another big overtaking opportunity. And then here in turn 13, you can take as much as the inside of the corner as you want. You probably won't spin through there. But then going into turn 14, now a lot of drivers will take as much of the inside as they possibly can and get as good of an exit as possible. The only problem is that pit wall does start to creep up on you sometimes. So, you know, say you get a little bit of a spin in that part of the track, yeah, you might find yourself with a DNF. Pit entry here is also very tricky as it's very tight entry to the pit lane. Not a lot of room for braking thereafter. As Heitai Gaming sets the fastest laps, a couple driver changes for tonight. M. Galloway, he's back in business, and he's going to take over the Alfa Romeo of Merpenselli tonight. He's currently on his outlap, starting his timed lap. Guitar Maniac, he's taken over the BWT Racing Point of Soy Loco, who I believe is on a lap currently. Humble Hippo looks to have done something. And then finally, Grumpy Old Catman takes over for Puff Digital in the McLaren. So a couple drivers changes tonight, nothing too drastic, but, you know, driver changes are just interesting to see, especially when you got Galloway in the picture, who last week was on pace to have an absolutely brilliant showing for that McLaren team. And I tell you what, him and Puff Digital got into it a couple times. And thankfully for him, Puff Digital's not in the field this week. But I tell you what, that was a very, very fun race to watch last time. And I tell you what here, M. Galloway kind of right behind Ray 46. This lap is not going to go down well for M. Galloway. And I tell you what, he's also eaten away at those soft compound tires. Are we racing in a qualifying session here? We might be. Ray 46, I tell you what, looks to be struggling with his brakes just a little bit. He's locked up about every corner. I've watched him. Now Galloway's going to get the toe. Galloway's going to go P6. Ray 46 is going to go P9. So I think Galloway could manage a better lap there. I feel like Ray maybe got in the way just a little bit there. But look at Guitar Maniac. Guitar Maniac going P1 so far over in that BWT Racing Point machine. He's got less than just over a tenth of a second above Heytight Gaming. Now, Heytight Gaming, I will say, to out-qualify Heytight, who, mind you, is an absolute rocket in these qualifying sessions, that's going to be somewhat of an achievement there, as we see Fusel or Fusale. I keep saying Fuselim, it's Fusale. Goes P3. Benzorai's currently P4 now. Benzorai's has gone on to the medium compound, as well as Will Ans has also done that as well. Now, Will Ans, typically one of those drivers that just kind of takes a lap to get used to the circuit, get a feel for things, and as you can see him, he's currently 9 seconds off the pace there in P13. I guarantee you that will not stay. What do we have next making their rounds to the line? That looks like the McLaren of Grumpy Old Catman. Yep, Grumpy Old Catman. Let's see what he can do. He's fitted the soft compound. So the thing with the soft compounds here is you're going to need to make these laps count, because what happens is that these soft compounds do not last long in the race. So we're talking a maximum of 10 laps, and you're already taking some of them off in this qualifying session. So these guys that are choosing to use the soft compound are going to have to absolutely make their laps count. If you're a guy like Guitar Maniac, you've done just that. And stick around for the end of the broadcast, as we've got a couple major announcements that we're going to deliver in the interview portion of the race. Very, very exciting things coming next season here in the Midwest F1 League. There's Fusale in the Haas. Currently P3 at the moment, about 0.5 of a second off pole position of Guitar Maniac, so he's not done terrible. See another ping. Oh, that's just true. Remember Fusale taking the win last week in the Haas, beating out Lingy 12, who Lingy 12 not with us this week, but Fusale taking the win by 0.08 of a second over Lingy 12, who Lingy 12 had that 3-second time penalty that resulted in that loss for him. Well, I say loss, it was very, very well deserved. Second place. Heytight was the other driver rounding out the top 3 in that race. Soy Loco took 4th in that last race, and I tell you what, his substitute, his Nico Hulkenberg, if you will, of Guitar Maniac, is on an absolute flyer at this moment in time. Currently P1. Heytight Gaming next up, and now he's on his outlap. Heytight has chosen to fit a fresh set of soft compound tires. Bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out. Mucky Mafia, he currently sits P11, finishing P5 last week. Detail has yet to make a timed lap. M. Galloway, now we were talking about him, currently sitting P4, who's in the pits currently. Finished P7 last week after kind of an interesting race for him. Not the cleanest. He picked up 5 seconds and I believe a penalty point as well. Let's go over our constructors' standings for the league this season so far. Now, AlphaTauri, I tell you what, their lead looks to be slowly dwindling away here, as they are not that far above Williams there in second place. Only 13 points separates first and second in the constructors. Ferrari 33 points back from first. Oh, what's happened here? Haytite nearly getting into his teammate of Adeltonian. Now, Adeltonian looked like he was trying to get off the circuit, and he just happened to be in the line of Haytite, and so Haytite's lap there, I believe for all intents and purposes, is going to be void. Let's check in on Guitar Maniac. Now, he's not that far behind this little grouping of Haytite and Adeltonian. But back to business here. Renault sitting in 4th at 326 BWT Racing Point. Sitting in 5th at 320 points, only 6 points back of 4th place. Haas, well, that gap's gotten a little bit bigger. Haas currently sitting in 6th at 249. Alfa Romeo only 5 points back at 244. Mercedes, they got a lot of work to do. 211 sitting in 8th place. Red Bull Racing in 9th at 181. And then McLaren in 10th at 121. Guitar Maniac making his way into the pits. Well, now here comes Haytite. He's on another timed lap. Oh, maybe just a snap of the oversteer. And as we see, Uncle Ben's Rice taking provisional pole by nearly a second over Guitar Maniac. But I've been told to focus in on this battle for 4th in the Drivers' Championship specifically, as only 14 points separates 4th from 10th. That is what we call a close standings there, as Monkey Mafia sits in 4th at 138. Detail and Murfancelli tied at 136 apiece. Haytite Gaming in 7th at 135. Spoolendub in 8th at 132. Cheap Rates in 9th at 129. And then Forza Juve in 10th at 124. Very, very close there. Now, is Haytite going to get into Adeltonian again? Now, Adeltonian is just not moving out of the way. And I feel like Haytite, unfortunately, was having a much better lap than he was probably looking to have here, as Adeltonian may have just gotten in the way a little bit there. M. Galloway on a fresh set of soft compound tires, the C4. See what he's able to do. Currently sitting in P6, second and a half off the pace, as he heads now through turns 6 and 7. Now, M. Galloway, I tell you what, I hope he hangs around this league for a decent long time here, as I tell you what, just watching this guy last week proved as to how much of a up-and-coming talent this one is, as we've seen that with a lot of drivers so far this season. Forza Juve, he's cracked into the top 3. And Galloway maybe taking a little bit of a wider exit to the corner there, using every inch of the circuit, going through turn 14, and M. Galloway is going to jump Saffron City into P6. Now, Saffron City currently sitting P7. He's going to make his way to the pits here. P7, not a bad spot for Saffron City. Good to see him back into the top 10. He's going to have a lot of work to do today, I will say that. And I tell you what, Williams are definitely within striking distance of this Constructors' Championship lead. So both him and Monkey Mafia are going to have to do everything they can to outpace El Capitano and Will Ans today. Forza Juve makes his way into 3rd. And as we look at the promotion battle, so Will Ans well above the cut line. 116 points above. Local Ben's Rice 77 points above. Soy Loco 54 points above. Monkey Mafia 54 points back. Detail 56. Murfancelli 56. Haytite 57. Spoolendub 60. And Chief Braids 63 points back. So I tell you what, I think the promotion battle at this point in time might just be done and dusted. But if I look at the relegation, which unfortunately I was not smart enough to have that queued up. The fight to avoid relegation for Division 2, Nero Nix and Ray 46 both sitting a comfortable 25 points above the cut line. Fusale 14 points above the cut line. However, Hightower and Humble Hippo dead even between these two drivers, so this one could go either way. Noganator sitting 33 points below the cut line, and Puff Digital 35 points below the cut line. So I tell you what, this one is going to be mega close between Hightower and Humble Hippo. Those drivers both dead even, and I tell you what, Hightower currently sitting P17 and Humble Hippo currently sitting P18, so I tell you what, that is only somewhat of a buzzkill. And we can see who the promotion is going to be for Division 3, because I tell you what, not only Division 3, I think that's going to be the division that I broadcast next season. Also going to be looking at who the drivers are for that group, see who, comes into Division 2. As we have, I believe, Guitar Maniac has gone in. Oh no, Guitar Maniac, a terrible part of the track, and I tell you what he's done, he's spun on the curb of turn number 5. As you can see, he's just kind of in that point where that is exactly the case. The Houdini sitting 77 points above the cut line, Young DJ 67 points above the cut line. And then Subtle But Whole 23 points above the cut line. So some familiar faces could be potentially coming to Division 2 next season. VTech, 23 points below that cut line. Unholy Red Eye, 47 points below that cut line. K-Dog K, 48 points back. Racing Ginger, 50 points back. Knuckles, 50 points back. And Pork Chops, 51 points back. So we have to keep an eye on those standings as well. And as we go into the last 2 minutes of the session here, our top 3 in the pits, but as we see here, Heitai Gaming crosses the line and goes P2, skipping over Guitar Maniac by about 0.3 of a second. I believe that's it's going to be Detail who's gone off there. What's happened to Detail? Because I don't know if he was just letting cars by or he's accumulated any wing damage, and nope, he looks all fine. Round goes Adaltonian. Round him, I think. Nope, I actually somewhat decently lied to you. That was Heitai, and, well, Heitai is in the grass. And I tell you what, Heitai has done exactly what Guitar Maniac has done. He has put himself in the grass out of turn 5, though it does look like Heitai has not picked up any wing damage. That's nicely done from him. Will Ans goes P2, though has invalidated this next lap. So I tell you what, Will Ans is not in a comfortable spot here. What do we have? Yellow flags in every sector. Nero Nix is gone, but I think he's in the pits. But Will Ans definitely not in a comfortable position here, as he's 0.5 of a second off the lead. Uncle Ben's Rice sits on pole at the moment. Heitai Gaming sits 3rd. The next driver on a timed lap looks like Fusale's gone and retired. He's at P7 currently, not a terrible spot whatsoever. Humble Hippo's gone and retired from the session. 20 seconds to go. Looks like Adaltonian happens to be on a timed lap. And he's going into the pits. Next to the line looks like it's going to be the Renault of Uncle Ben's Rice to start his final timed lap. Going to try to extend that gap just a little bit more. The next is going to be the Red Bull of the Noganator, who's just started another time lap. Heitai is going to go P3, 0.6 of a second behind. Guitar Maniac has P5 at the moment. Didn't get a chance to make another lap on the fresh soft compound. Next to the line is that Will Ans going slowly. Yeah, Will Ans going a little bit slow there, making his way into the pits. He looks to be on low fuel mode. Capitano now, he's gone off on exit of turn number 15. It looks like at the moment Will Ans has P2. Monkey Mafia is next to the line on a flying lap, although I believe he's in low fuel mode. Nope, around the bend comes Monkey Mafia. Let's see what he's going to do. He's in P18 at the moment. not a comfortable place whatsoever, and Monkey Mafia is going to go up to P12. So a solid qualifying spot from him, and he's lined up along row number 6 with his Williams teammate of Saffron City. Definitely not what they wanted, especially with Will Ans qualifying P2. Not the worst place to be. Noganator now comes around the final corner. He's going to be the last one to qualify in this session, and Noganator is going to stay P14, so not the lap that he wanted, but Uncle Ben's Rice taking pole position here at the Hungaroring with Will Ans in second. Oh, my recording's gone all silly again, but Uncle Ben's Rice taking pole position, Will Ans in second, and then Haytite in third. Familiar faces on these first 2 rows here. This is going to be a fun one, lads, that's for sure. As Uncle Ben's Rice taking pole, Will Ans in second, Haytite in third, M. Galloway completing the second row. Guitar Maniac, great result from him in 5th. Forza Juve 6th, Humble Hippo 7th, 8th is Fusale, 9th Detail, 10th Grumpy Old Catman, 11th Saffron, 12th Monkey Mafia, 13th Hightower, 14th Noganator, 15th Capitano, 16th Adoltonian, 17th Nerunix, 18th Chief Braids, 19th Ray 46, and then rounding out the field in P20 is the Haas of Spoolendorf. Free practice session for not the Styrian Grand Prix, well, Austria Part 2 tomorrow, as Max Verstappen looks to extend his championship lead on Sir Lewis Hamilton. But at the same time, Sir Lewis looks to have maybe figure out the track just a little bit more, maybe figure out the car a little bit more, maybe, hopefully, gets an advantage on Max Verstappen, and I'm sure George Russell looking to find his way back into the points yet again, although it's going to be a big challenge with him for him this week, although I'm sure he's made a lot of progress. Galloway is the first person to hit the X button, and he's hit it well early as well. But be sure to check out the Slipstream podcast on Spotify and anywhere podcasts are available, as Adoltonian and Lingy 12 discuss all things Formula 1 and Midwest F1 League related. A very fun podcast to be a part of, and a very good listen in general, so definitely check them out, as they will surely have stuff going there. Now let's talk about tires. Now it's very likely that we don't see drivers use the soft compound today, as they can only last a maximum of 10 laps. Of course, starting on softs is possible, but a 27-lap stint on the hard compound will definitely be a task for the drivers. The game default strategy that the drivers are given is starting on the medium compounds and switching to the hards around lap 16. As you can see now, won't stop starting on the softs to the hards around lap 8 and 9. But the default strategy, as I said, starting on the medium compounds, which leads to a pit around lap 16. But a safety car anywhere after lap 5 could see the one-stop strategy take place with the hard. So that'll be about 30 laps on the hard compound. So definitely some very careful driving towards the end of the race. So that is going to be interesting to see here, and if we look and see who's got what tire fitted. So Fusale is the only driver in the top 10 who has fitted the medium compound tire, the C3. Saffron City, Monkey Mafia, so pretty much everyone outside the top 10 has fit either the medium or hard compound. Interesting to see some of these drivers starting on the hard compound first. I feel like Hightower, Capitano, and Spoolendorf all choosing the hards first. That is not a decision I would have taken personally. But, you know, if you take the slower compound at the beginning, it could help you. So as the drivers round turn 14 and 15, Uncle Ben's Rice leading the field back to the grid, and I think I'm going to be looking out for Galloway here. I don't want to say he's the underdog, but him and Guitar Maniac definitely going to have some work to do here going into turn number 1. I'm going to look out for Will Ans to be mega aggressive off the start, because While the battle for the Constructors' Championship is still heating up, the battle for the Drivers' Championship also heating up as well, and I don't think Will Ans is going to want to give Uncle Ben's Rice any room whatsoever here. Haytight's up there as well. Now he's got to start to think about maybe getting into the promotion spot as well. 57 points back, and as the grid is lining up, it looks like someone's forgot to pay the electric bill. I've lied to you. 5 lights are on here in Hungary. It's lights out, and away we go. And I think the answer is Will Ans got the best start. No, it's actually Ben's Rice. Ben's Rice has gotten a much better start. It's going to be 3 wide going into turn 1 here. Haytight around the outside. Guitar Maniac, Galloway, and Forza Juve all trying to send it 3 wide into turn 1. Will Ans does not provide me the best camera angle, and it looks like Galloway maybe got a little shove there between Haytight and Forza Juve, but Forza Juve making up a few spots here. That was a brilliant start from him, and as the field goes down through turn 2, it looks all clear for now. A very, very entertaining start that was, and I think the answer, oh, what's this here? We've got Hightower making a move on Niru Nix. What exactly is happening to my order? But Uncle Ben's Rice has the lead, and Galloway in P3. We got a car off way out in the boonies. That's going to be Monkey Mafia, who's gone about as far off the track as you could possibly get on exit of turn number 4. But Will Ans definitely did not get the best start here. But lucky for him, a safety car is out on track. Now, I'm not really sure why that safety car has come out. Monkey Mafia hasn't DNF'd, and I wonder if it's just to pick up the debris that maybe he's left behind. He hasn't left behind that much either, only the end plates on the left-hand side. Saffron City's going to get 5 seconds for colliding with Adol Tony, and Adol Tony's going to get that as well for colliding with Saffron. Not what those 2 drivers needed. Look at the position change. Forza Juve had an absolutely incredible start, picking up 3 spots. I don't really know what's happening anymore. 3 spots since the beginning of the race, and I tell you what, P3, not a bad spot for Forza Juve. Has he just gone into the grass? What's happened with Forza Juve there? Okay, so Forza Juve has nearly binned it under safety car. As lots of drivers choosing to come into the pit here. Saffron City, Capitano, Niru Nix, Adol Tony, and Monkey Mafia all choosing to come in now. Now that's going to be a mess of a strategy for these drivers. Adol Tony's chosen to pit the softs. It looks like a double stack here for the Williams team, which hasn't helped out Monkey Mafia at all, I'll tell you that much. So as we saw going into turn 1, 3 wides everywhere, and I tell you what, Will Ans definitely had the best camera angle on the rear view of that, as that was a very entertaining start to the race. Somehow turn 1 ended up not being the place where people picked up DNFs, not yet at least. I'm sure the safety car restart would like to have a word with me. But the answer is going to be Bernd Maylander, leading the field around the track for a few laps. I'm sure that's going to be the funnest, the most fun job in the world, is driving the F1 safety car. Just seeing these multi-million-dollar machines behind you, and you're in your little Mercedes car doing about, a cool 85 at most. As look at this, Uncle Ben's Rice giving him a little bit of a wave here. So Galloway's held position. Forza Juve's gone up to 3rd, so good start for him. Haytight has lost 2 spots, and I think the answer to that was just, I think him and Galloway maybe had a little bit of contact on the start. Forza Juve forced his way in there as well. Guitar Maniac hasn't had the best start he's wanted. He's lost only 1 spot. Though I tell you what, the work he's going to have to do is going to be it's going to be unimaginable, as you've got some of the best drivers in the division in the immediate positions above you. However, he was there to begin with. P5, brilliant qualifying position. So let's see what he's got. Humble Hippo back there in P7, he's held position. Fusel's held position. Grumpy Old Catman makes his way into 9th place. Details down to 10th. Noganair's picked up 3 spots. Ray 46 being the biggest mover so far into P13. And I'll tell you what, I'd be pretty happy with that. But I tell you what here, not what the Williams team needed, as both of their drivers pitting under the safety car here, P17 and P20. Both of those drivers losing at least 6 positions. Saffron losing 6, Monkey Mafia losing 8. But as somewhat of a consolation prize, Capitano hasn't fared much better either. He's gone and boxed as well, and he's found himself losing 3 positions. Nero Nix in that Renault boxed as well, but somehow ended up gaining a position from that. And you never know, we might go safety car in this lap, as it looks like the field's all somewhat decently together. And looks like Bernd Maylander is going to be coming in this lap, so back to racing very shortly. Whoa! Forza Juve looked like he was in the dirt. That was strange. Surely I'm not the only one that saw that, because he was about as in the dirt as you could get. So the answer is going to be Will Ans on this start. He's going to want to be aggressive here. He's got Benz Rice in front of him. These guys, a bit of a love-hate relationship between the two of them. Definitely friends, but definitely rivals for this championship. Now Benz Rice is going to get out to the start. Will Ans choosing to take a wider berth. Benz Rice is going to lead the field back to the green flag. And it looks like Forza Juve trying to make the move on Will Ans. Switching back and forth now to the inside of the track. Who's going to outbrake who going into turn 1? Forza Juve is going to try to get to the inside. And Will Ans is going to give him plenty of room. It's a very solid battle down through the DRS section now. And it looks like Forza Juve still right on the back of Will Ans. And as they go into turn number 2, the field taking that single file route down the grid. And it looks like no stupid overtaking maneuvers happening to cause somewhat of a crash. But I tell you what, everybody's held file on this start so far, and now here comes Will Ans. Now he's trying his best to maybe get a mistake out of Vocal Benz Rice. If I know something good about Will Ans, after racing against him in F2 all this time, is that Will Ans can force you into mistake and can get the position off of you. And I tell you what, he's definitely looking to do that here. But he's got a fast Forza Juve behind him, and he's got an even faster M. Galloway behind him. Forza Juve, something is weird with his timing, as somehow he's negative time. Alright, gonna ignore that. And the field taking pretty much the single file route. Come on, guys. We're already done with the safety car restart. It looks like Haytight, could he find a way around M. Galloway here, coming out of turn 14 rather. Vocal Benz Rice setting the fastest lap. Yellow flag in Sector 3, that's El Capitano. And he's gone around in a terrible position. He's given me a terrible camera angle as well. Galloway picks up 3 seconds for time penalties. And wow, El Capitano taking, all of his front wing off. And it looks like a side-by-side battle here between Guitar Maniac and Fusale. Through turn number 3, it's still side-by-side. These two are putting on a show right here. Up the hill and into turn 4. This is going to get dicey really quickly. Guitar Maniac is forced wide, although he will get the position. Nicely done from him, and it looks like at the top of the grid, Benz Rice has accumulated a 1.5-second gap back to Will Ans. And it looks like right in front of Guitar Maniac, Haytight doing everything he can to try to get a mistake out of M. Galloway, get back into the 4th spot. Now, M. Galloway does have the time penalty, although Haytight's the type of driver who's not going to sit back and let penalties determine positions. Fusale on that medium compound. He's holding pretty steady there in P7. I tell you what, I think starting on the medium compound was the answer as well. Now in comes M. Galloway. What's he up to? Now he's taken a decently short approach to this pit window. He's gone and boxed now. Now he'll probably try to fit the hards. No, and according to the thing, it says he's going to be on the 2-stop strategy. Not what I expected, by any means. And there's absolutely nobody around Haytight, though it tells me there's a 200th of a second gap. M. Galloway, Saffron City, and Capitano all coming in. Looks like the pit window open for Forza Juve as well. So maybe some of these drivers choosing the 2-stop strategy. That's something I can't say I expected, although... See, now the 1-stop strategy has been the move this season. It's been the trend, is, a lot of these drivers just not wanting to take 2 stops, not take the extra time, and maybe just the drivers that started on the soft compound, that's probably what they have to do. Looks like Forza Juve getting overtaken by Haytight Gaming. Now, did Forza Juve make a mistake? Because I wasn't sure how even close that gap was, as you can tell, Forza Juve's timing is not working. What is happening here? Forza Juve all over the place. So Forza Juve going down the order. In comes Fusale. Now he's going to try to get around Guitar Maniac. Almost some contact being happening there. Guitar Maniac up into P4. Fusale's got the double DRS. Can a move be made into turn 2? The answer is going to be no for now. Though a solid battle this is between those two drivers. A little bit further back, the other BWT Racing points of Detail, trying to get around the side of Grumpy Old Catman, going through turn number 4, and Humble Hippo's going to pick up 3 seconds for multiple warnings, but Detail, an absolutely beautiful overtake that was, I will say, and he kept it within track limits as well. That was nicely done, and very, very top job from him, as Detail, I tell you what, has had his struggles in Division 2 this season. It's good to see him make an overtake like that. Now, Saffron City and Capitano choosing to fit fresh, hard compound tires. Now, I don't think those hard compound tires are going to last more than 30 laps. If they do, they're not going to be the most efficient tire on the grid, and that's definitely going to be somewhat of a problem. As we can see, the racing points of Guitar Maniac choosing to come in this time. So Guitar Maniac started on the softs. Might be able to go to the hards end of the way, as it looks like Will Ans has come in as well, so lots of drivers choosing to box this time in. Now here's Nehru Nix trying to make the move on Spoolendub going into turn 1, and that's a beautiful overtake there from Nehru Nix. Nicely done there, and now we see Chief Grades. Can he try to make a move on Ray 46? He's got Hightower in front of him, so Will Hightower, who by the way is on that hard compound tire, tries to fend off Ray 46. This might open the door for Chief Grades as they go through turn 4. Still have yet to see a driver in the race so far been claimed by turn 5. Ray 46 has done well to get himself into the top 10. A position that I'm sure he'd like to be in a lot more of so far this season. And Detail in a bit of a tough spot here, I'll say that much. Man, I feel like I should stop cursing drivers, as I've just said how Detail, he was having a pretty decent run at the moment. Now finds himself in P14 with a little bit less wing than he's typically accustomed to. Uncle Ben's Rice going to come in this time. Grumpy Old Catman, can he make the move on the Noganator? This is going to be a close one into turn 1, I feel. And if not, maybe through the DRS section. It looks like, let's see who's going to get the better, and it looked like both drivers are going to follow suit there. If anything, I think Noganator maybe got the best there. Ray 46, I think he just made a move on Chief Grades, and I think that was beautifully done. Ray 46 puts himself into P7, nicely done. Now those medium compound tires can go about 16 laps, so if you are on that medium compound tire, you're about halfway there on your strategy. Nice little train of cars here. 4 cars are all within a second of each other here. Question mark. Yeah, pretty much. Looks like Chief Grade's definitely trying to put Ray 46 under quite some pressure here. Uncle Ben's Rice. Can he try to get around Monkey Mafia as they go into turn 12? And that's a beautiful overtake from Ben's Rice, as the fresh medium tires are going to outdo the 6-lap-old hard tires on any day of the week that ends with Y. Adeltonia now, he's going to try to get around Spoolendub, and as we say that, Spoolendub picking up 3 seconds for exceeding track limits on exit of turn 14. And here comes Adeltonian down to the inside. Who's going to get the better of who? It looks like Spoolendub might carry a little bit more speed on exit, but Adeltonian makes the overtake happen, and I think he does it well. And Spoolendub, I don't know if any contact was made, or maybe just a little bit of overtaking there, but it's side by side, and Nehru Nix gets around Chief Brains. Now Chief Brains, he's not done with this whatsoever. Chief Brains wants the position still. Chief Brains down to the inside. Nehru Nix is going to go mega wide on exit of turn 4. Now Chief Brains, can he switch back to the inside through turn number 5? The answer is no, not yet. That was a beautiful overtake from Niru Nix, I'm sure, and hopefully we'll get a replay of that, as that looked to be, from my perspective. From what I caught onto it, a very solid battle. Niru Nix going wide on exit there, and Chief Raid's going to run into the back of him, hopefully not picking up any wing damage there. And as they go through turns 11 and then down into 12, Chief Raid's going to get the inside. Who's going to outbreak who? It looks like Chief Raid's trying to force Niru Nix into a mistake, and it looks like Niru Nix going to get the better of him there. Looks like Spool and Dub doing his best to hold off Uncle Ben's Rice, though to no avail. Saffron City's picking up 3 seconds for multiple warnings here. Now here comes Uncle Ben's Rice trying. Do his best to get around 8 Eltonian. 8 Eltonian slow on exit of the corner. And now Ben's Rice. Gonna be getting around 8 Eltonian here nicely. And it looks like we have Forza Juve off on exit of turn 13. Or on entry to 14 rather. But a very nice overtake there from Uncle Ben's Rice. Uncle Ben's Rice absolutely charging his way through the field here, doing everything and anything he can. Trying to get back into his P1 slot that he was in. Now Humble Hippo has made those soft compound tires last 10 laps. So you'd have to think that very shortly he'll be boxing here. As Humble Hippo now drops to 10 seconds outside the leader's gap. So right now, if you're Fusail and you box, I mean, you're probably going to be dropping back at least about, I mean, that's going to be at least a 20-second box. So hopefully the next time someone comes in, and it looks like Uncle Ben's Rice got around Ray 46 quite nicely. Humble Hippo's going to box now, so we're going to go ahead and time Humble Hippo as he comes in. See how much time we're losing exactly. As it looks like up front we have Chief Braids down to the inside of Hightower, and that's a beautifully done overtake there, and Heitai Gaming setting the fastest lap as we see Humble Hippo now making his way out of the pit lane. So about 20 seconds is the answer to pit lane time. Uncle Ben's Rice now, he's going to want to get around Hightower here. He's definitely within striking distance. This one's going to be close. Hightower's not going to be one to just let him have the position. Hightower's in it for the long haul here. He's got those 11-lap bold hard compounds on. He won't need to box until... Well, honestly, he could probably box around lap 30 for the softs. He could probably go 30 laps on those hard tires. And now Uncle Ben's Rice is going to try to find the right-hand side. Now he's going to try to find the left side. Hightower doing everything he can, throwing everything but the kitchen sink at Uncle Ben's Rice to keep him behind. But unfortunately, Uncle Ben's Rice, he's going to break a little bit earlier into the corner, and he's going to get around Hightower very nicely. Beautiful overtakes here that Uncle Ben's Rice is pulling off, I will say. And absolutely brilliant so far to watch him. Next up in the firing line is going to be Ray 46. Can he try to make the move on Hightower going into turn 1? Now what's happened to Will Ans? He's still kind of back there in P11 at this moment in time. Capitano picking up 3 seconds for time penalties. Hightower did not get the line through turn 1 that he wanted, that's for sure. Ray 46, however, getting oversteer on exit turn 1. Down into 2, and it looks like Hightower maybe just has a little bit of time for now, as we have a couple cars battling for position here. As Will Ans is in the middle of absolute mess here of Guitar Maniac and M. Galloway. Looks like Haytite, he's trying to get around Spool and Dub. Spool and Dub in P7 currently. Ray 46 now, he's trying to make some moves on Hightower, although this chicane of 6 and 7, not the place where you want to do that, that's for sure. Well, Will Ans, Will Ans is definitely not in the position that he wants to be in right now. He's being, I don't want to say held up by M. Galloway, as we see here an overtake. Uncle Ben's Rice getting around Chief Braids. That's nicely done as well. Uncle Ben's Rice doing literally everything in his power to get back into the top 3, and he's done just that. Haytite Gaming right up against the back of Spool and Dub. Now as they come through turn 14, any contact to be made there? Yeah, Haytite's going to get right along the gearbox of Spool and Dub. Exit of turn 14 they go. Here comes Haytite down to the inside. And it looks like an overtake's going to be made here. Nicely done from Haytite. However, it's going to be side by side going into the corner, and finally Spool and Dub's going to see the position for now. But a very nice overtake there from Haytite. Add that one to the highlight reel. So back along with Will Ans. It just looks like Will Ans is struggling for pace right now. I'm not really sure what's wrong with Will Ans right now, but he just seems at a complete lack of pace. And it looks like Guitar Maniac, he's going to try to get around Spool and Dub as they go through 6 and 7, and then finally 8. Spool and Dub trying his best to keep these drivers behind, and in comes Fusail. So Fusail, I think, is only going to drop to about P6 here, maybe P7. It's got 14 seconds between him and first place. Now, Noganator done a nice job to stay in this position for now, and I think, I tell you what, he's done a pretty solid job, and I tell you what, I think Noganator, a little bit far back for his liking, but I tell you what, Fusail is only going to come out to 4th. Wow, and so Fusail has absolutely nailed the strategy there. So Ben's race now. Now he's going to want to get around Noganator very shortly, but it looks like Adol Tony in his fastest lap. Good for him. Haytite, he's going to get around Hightower. Going through that corner, very nicely done there. Oh, and will you look at that? Pun intended. Will Ans just picked up 3 seconds for exceeding track limits one too many times of the liking of Michael Massey. So that, unfortunately, has just thrown a massive wrench into the plans of Will Ans. Though I tell you what, Will Ans probably to this point thought he was having the championship battle pretty much decently wrapped up, but Chief Braids, Uncle Ben's Rice rather, in a very, very good spot. And speaking of Ben's Rice, he's going to overtake Noganator here very shortly, and as they get to the line, Uncle Ben's Rice going to take the position. Nicely done there from Uncle Ben's Rice, but Noganator still hanging right there as best as he can. And I think finally Noganator is going to start to drop back from Uncle Ben's Rice here, as simply the 9-lap difference in those two tires is definitely going to be too much there. As we look a little bit further back, looks like Guitar Maniac still doing everything he can to try to get to Spool and Dub. Look at the, well, I'm not really sure what that is flying through the air, but it definitely looks cool. Spool and Dub's done a great job to keep himself within the top 10 at the moment. Oh, Hightower is going to get wide out of exit of turn number 5, and you have to wonder, did he maybe just hit the curbing on the outside and maybe get a little bit of wheel spin, because he's definitely lost a lot of ground. He did a well job of saving the car as well. Let's point that out real quick. But now he's opened this door just a little bit further. Now Galloway wants in this mix as well, and you see Will Ans is not that far behind either. Galloway right up against the back of Guitar Maniac as they go through 14. Haytite Gaming setting the fastest lap. Chief Braids and Noganator coming in now. Now here comes Galloway to the right-hand side. It's going to be side by side going into turn 1. And Galloway doing an excellent job of outbreaking Guitar Maniac there. Oh, but he gets into the side of Spool and Dub. Spool and Dub getting shuffled about here, and I tell you what, he's fallen right into the path of Will Ans. Will Ans going to outbreak Spool and Dub going through turn number 3. It's still side by side though. Anything can happen. Hopefully, not a lot of game-changing contact being made there, and Spool and Dub has lost a few positions in the span of 2 corners there. M. Galloway, first of all, made a brilliant overtake on Guitar Maniac. I think maybe Guitar Maniac got into Spool and Dub just a little bit as Guitar Maniac tried to rejoin the circuit. And now here comes M. Galloway to the inside of Hightower. This is a very interesting part of the track to overtake on, I'll say that much. 8 and 9, definitely not what you'd expect. And M. Galloway doing everything he can to try to get around him. Still side by side. He's going to let Hightower go through now. But I tell you what, Galloway is taking no prisoners here. Galloway, his medium tire is definitely starting to get to the end of their tire life, you'd have to believe. I mean, the mediums can go up to 22 laps in length. Galloway's had them on for 10, although you'd have to believe they're starting to fall off just a little bit. Will Ann's getting around Guitar Maniac as they go into turn 1. M. Galloway trying everything he can to get around Hightower. Hightower going to take the corner wide. Somehow Hightower not picking up a time penalty there. Galloway's going to try the right-hand side, and M. Galloway is going to maybe get the position, and yes, Galloway will get the position on Hightower. Nicely done there from Hightower. Or from M. Galloway, rather. I will say shout out to these two drivers that had that battle last lap, going through turns 8 and 9 and keeping it rather clean as well. And El Capitano retiring from the session in the pits, I think. Has he? No. El Capitano has hit the barrier on entry to the pit lane, I think. Either that or he's hit the barrier in the pit lane, as we do have a virtual safety car. Because he's not in his pit box. They wouldn't have called it a VSC. They wouldn't have called it a VSC if he was in his pit box. And as we see here, yeah... Oh, no, he's on track. Okay. So El Capitano bins it coming out of turn 14. And so that is a DNF for Capitano. Very unfortunate for him there, as definitely not the race that he wanted. And in the pits comes Ray 46. Now Ray 46 putting on the hard compound tires, so he's going to make those last to the end. Looks like he's going to come out around P14 probably. A couple drivers coming in as well. Hightower, and yep, Hightowers came in as well. Like Will Ann's has slowly found his way back into the top 5. He's now got M. Galloway in his sights. Not that far behind Guitar Maniac, still doing everything he can to try to get behind, get that 5th position back. Spoolendub not that far behind either. Never mind, Monkey Mafia has found he's found his way into the top 10. Field getting a little bit more dispersed than I'd like here. But, as we look a little bit further back, Adoltonium trying his best in Humble Hippo now. Saffron City picking up another 3 seconds from multiple warnings. Noganator picking up some 3 seconds as well. Guitar Maniac really trying to keep Will Ann's in his sights here. The Guitar Maniac's on those 10-lap-old medium tires. You'd have to think that overtake is definitely possible. Will Ann's opened and closed his DRS there. Now here comes Guitar Maniac, down to the inside of the championship leader, Guitar Maniac, and is he going to make the overtake stick? That was a beautiful move! Wow, and Guitar Maniac just made an absolutely amazing move on the championship leader of Will Ann's, as Fusail, he picks up 3 seconds for time penalties. An unbelievable move there from Guitar Maniac. That was absolutely brilliantly done there. And now he's going to go wide through turn 4, and he's going to open the door right back up for Will Ann's, but it's all good. I'd say that one has to go on the highlight reel for Guitar Maniac. I'm not sure how big the highlight reel is for him, as this is my first time seeing him here in Division 2, nevertheless in Midwest F1 League entirely, as I can't recall ever seeing him here before, but I tell you what, nicely done from him. Will Ann's, though, he's not going to give up on this position. If you think he will, you're just dead wrong, as Will Ann's doing everything he can to now try to negate the DNF of his teammate El Capitano. It looks like M. Galloway coming into the pits. He's on 13-lap-old medium tires. Haytite Gaming has come in as well, though Haytite is going to be coming out of the pits very shortly. And now here comes Will Ann's. Can Will Ann's do that same move that Guitar Maniac did to him a lap ago? Guitar Maniac is definitely going to have the line enough to keep Will Ann's from making the overtake. Very nicely done from Guitar Maniac to fend off Will Ann's. Noganator's just picked up 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. Unfortunate for him. The Noganator has gone and retired from the session in the pits. Heitai Gaming, he's going to try to get around Grumpy Old Catman. Grumpy Old Catman in a little bit of an awkward position here. He's on 9-lap old hard compound tires. Heitai Gaming on fresh mediums. You have to believe that Heitai's going to look to make this overtake shortly, and by shortly, I mean right now, and he does just that. Very nicely done there from Heitai to make that overtake stick. Will Ans now has to try to get back. That Guitar Maniac up now into the podium position. Spoolendub has chosen to come in. Now, is he going to fit the medium tires? And Heitai Gaming picking up 3 seconds from multiple warnings. But is Spoolendub going to fit the mediums? I'm not really sure if that's the case or not, but as I ponder over meaningless tire debates, Will Ans makes a great overtake on Guitar Maniac that I've just missed, and I'm going to throw in that replay now. But Guitar Maniac's still right there. I mean, Guitar Maniac's doing everything he can to keep Will Ans right there. You do have to wonder if or when Guitar Maniac is going to choose to pit again. I'm not entirely sure he's going to make... I highly doubt he's going to make the end of the race on the medium compound. And I don't think... I just don't think there's a good time for Guitar Maniac to box right now. As looks like Uncle Ben's Rice setting the fastest lap of the race, and Monkey Mafia under pressure from Heitai Gaming. Now Heitai Gaming on those fresh medium tires, trying to get to the inside of Monkey Mafia, sent it up the inside, now side by side down the DRS straight. And nicely done there from Heitai to get that overtake. That one was brilliantly done, I'll say. Looks like Humble Hippo making the move on Adaltonian, as Adaltonian comes into the pits. So, well, yes, but actually no. That's the answer to that. Niru Nix trying to get to the back of Ray 46. Now, Ray 46, fresh hard tires. P9 so far for Ray 46. As Will Ans at his second 3-second time penalty accumulated here. 6 seconds. And I tell you what, I know Guitar Maniac still has yet to pit again, but Will Ans is definitely not in the position where you want to accumulate more than 1 time penalty, and he's done just that. I'm not really sure we've picked that up either. I'm not really sure. Maybe exit of turn 4? I'm not really sure as... well, we'll have to ponder that at a different time. It looks like Ray 46 still under pressure from Niru Nix. Chief Braid's behind him, under a lot of pressure from M. Galloway. Now, can Galloway make something happen here as they exit turn number 11? Now, Galloway down to the inside, going into 12. Not going to make it happen yet, and I think M. Galloway maybe just got caught out a little bit there, as he's definitely now lost a little bit of time back to Chief Braids. DRS is going to come into play here big time, though, and now as M. Galloway looks to get around Chief Braids a little bit further up, that looks like Humble Hippo trying to get around Grumpy Old Catman. Oh, and what's happened here, Galloway? Wow, and that one was just simply unexpected. Oh, and Ray 46 is going to drive into the middle of the pack, and oh, man. Oh my, and Ray 46. Ray 46 was having such a good race. And you'd have to believe that M. Galloway is going to be under investigation for that. Okay, that was a little bit ridiculous, I will say. I think M. Galloway... I wonder if M. Galloway maybe got a little help from behind or something, because I've just absolutely no idea how M. Galloway... I'm not really sure what's happened there. I'll throw in that replay now. Adaltonian picks up 3 seconds for time penalty, but you have to feel for Ray 46. P9, the result that the Red Bull team needed. And a good result that he was going to get as well, one of his best of the season. And it ends in 3 Red Bull-related Honda cars, being DNF'd. 2 of them being Red Bull, 1 of them being AlphaTauri. As M. Galloway picking up 5 seconds, speeding into the pit lane, and M. Galloway is going to go and retire from the session. And now Haytight. Now he's trying to pressure Will Ans. Now Will Ans is in a very, very difficult spot here, as he has a decent amount of penalties, let's say. 6 seconds. Haytight has 3. So I think realistically here, Haytight has the position on Will Ans for now. But as I said before, Haytight, not the type of driver that's going to let the penalties get the positions. And he's going to try to switch back to the inside of Will Ans. It's going to be a nice battle off of turn 14. It's still side by side. My game has gone weird again. It looks like Haytight making the overtake on Will Ans. And as you can see in the chat, M. Galloway definitely feeling sorry for the accident that he caused in the corner. That was just I'm not even sure what's happened that's caused M. Galloway to go that far off. As he was in a position where it's not like he was going to run into anyone, because he's missed his braking point. I don't know if maybe he made contact with something, or someone made contact with him, or I don't know, but he's gone across the grass going into turn 1, and he's gotten into Ray 46, and then Ray 46 tried to rejoin the circuit, and gets absolutely demolished by the Mercedes of, I believe it was Hightower. I could be wrong. Chief Braid's still doing everything he can to try to get back on Humble Hippo, and meanwhile Niru Nix wants into this as well. So a 3-car battle for position here. Haytight, meanwhile, has put a solid 1 point, a second and a half on Will Ans. Chief Braid's nearly missing his braking point there, maybe getting into Humble Hippo. Oh, and Chief Braid's going to go around on exit of turn 1. Wow, and Chief Braid's spinning the car around there, maybe gets a snap of oversteer on exit of turn 1. Damages the end plate on left-hand side. And loses out on a very good result. Very unfortunate for him. I will say, though, his McLaren teammate of Grumpy Old Catman... Oh, what's this here? Benz Rice is pitting. So Benz Rice going to fit the soft compound tires. So Fusail on 12-lap old hards. He's going to be able to make the end of the rest of the race. That part is for sure. Now, can Haytight potentially get to Benz Rice? I don't think it's going to be even close. But meanwhile, Grumpy Old Catman, he's having a pretty solid race, and that McLaren up to P6. I mean, still no consolation for the mishap that Chief Braids has just had, but I'll tell you what, I think he'll be pretty happy with that. Meanwhile, here's Guitar Maniac making the move on his Racing Point teammate of Detail. Now, this would be a pretty solid day for the Racing Point team, finishing 9th and 10th. Still decent couple laps to go here, but, you know, crazier things have happened. Now, here's Nero Nix. Can he find his way around Humble Hippo? Gets into the back of Humble Hippo through turn 3. Gearbox to front wing here as they go into turn 4. It looks like Humble Hippo has the position for now. Meanwhile, here's Guitar Maniac. Right on the back of Niru Nix as well. 3-car battle for the 7th spot. Looks like Detail maybe fell off just a little bit. Guitar actually went and boxed for that soft compound as well. So he's going to have some extra pace here. But Fusail has the lead. Benz Rice in second. about 13 and a half seconds behind, although he is on those soft compound tires. He still has 5 laps to go. So, maybe he can make it interesting. I'm not really sure he can, but, Oh, and what's this? Guitar gets into the back of Niru Nix going through 14. How much wing has Guitar Maniac lost? And I don't know if it's that much. No, it's actually none at all. Humble Hippo still doing everything he can to fend off Niru Nix, as Niru Nix trying everything he can, throwing everything but the kitchen sink to try to get around him. But to no avail just yet. Humble Hippo getting a wide line through turn 2. Tell you what, a very nice little battle for position here. Now Humble Hippo, I think he's going to get wide. Guitar Maniac follows suit as well. Niru Nix gets a little bit wide, and it looks like Guitar Maniac missed his braking point. Now that's going to open the door for detail. That's the second time that Guitar Maniac has gotten into the back of Niru Nix. And as you saw, Guitar Maniac was trying to get to the inside of Niru Nix there and just simply ran out of room and ran out of braking space. But the good news is for Guitar Maniac is that he still hasn't lost any of his front wing. I don't know what kind of bulletproof material his front wing is made out of, but he's definitely fitted that upgrade for the race. You can say thanks to Jeff for that. Into the back of Niru Nix again. That's the third time in the span of 2 laps. Still no wing damage. Still the battle. Niru Nix. Can he find enough speed to get up to Humble Hippo as they go into 1? Meanwhile, Forza Juve, on those 18-lap-old hard compound tires, he's going to try to get around detail here very shortly. But I tell you what, I'm not really sure where Niru Nix is losing his time. It has to be through Sector 3, because with the first 2 sectors of the track, it just looks like Niru has Humble Hippo beaten for pace. Here comes Guitar Maniac, again to the back of Niru Nix. He's not going to... into him again. That's 5, 6 times, potentially. Still no wing damage on the racing point of Guitar Maniac. Now, Guitar Maniac's doing everything he can to get around Niru Nix, because he's definitely got him outpaced on the soft tires. And I definitely think that Niru Nix is losing his ground through Sector 3, as we see past the first DRS section, and through Sectors 1 and 2. It's dead even between these 2 drivers. The gap gets sometimes within 0.2 of a second. But for now, it looks like Humble Hippo just simply has enough pace. Now let's see what Niru Nix can do this time. He's had a much better lap compared to the last 2, I'll say. Down into turn 1, he's going to try to brake late to the inside, trying everything he can to get around Humble Hippo. Gets a bit wide as he gets to the right-hand side of Humble Hippo's chassis. Contact definitely being made there. Humble Hippo getting hit from behind from Niru Nix. Now he's going to try to make it side-by-side through turn 4. This is going to be a mess. Niru Nix is going to completely miss his braking point. Guitar Maniac slamming into the back of Niru Nix one more time, just for good measure. And he's finally lost the end plate. Forza Juve, he wants around Guitar Maniac now. Oh, this might not end well. It didn't end well. As Forza Juve goes around right there on exits of turn 8. I mean, you can't blame Forza Juve for trying the move. You really can't. I mean, we've seen that move once already this race. I'm starting to think I might have to make a compilation of myself jinxing drivers. Niru Nix, can he finally make the overtake this time by? Actually, if I jinx people, no, he's not going to make it. And is the reverse jinx going to work? The reverse jinx might just work. Niru Nix still to the inside of Humble Hippo. The reverse jinx works as Niru Nix finally gets the spot. Apologies to Humble Hippo there. But I tell you what, Humble Hippo's still not done. And Guitar Maniac has now lost position to Detail as well. Detail managed to get around him. 2 laps to go here for Fusail. Now, why did Uncle Ben's Rice box? Because honestly, he had the lead. Anyways, Monkey Mafia finds himself up into the top 5. Nicely done from Monkey Mafia. Grumpy old Catman, though, not going to let him get away with it. Monkey Mafia 30 lap old hard tires. How he hasn't pulled a Baku Verstappen yet is beyond me. Humble Hippo, can he potentially get around Nehru Nix going into 1? I don't think he's going to get it this time by. Or can he? Humble Hippo trying everything he can to stay along with Nehru Nix, and I will say he's doing his best. If we look at the penalties, Fusail in first place has 3 seconds, although I don't think that's going to matter with Uncle Ben's Rice. At the moment, he's got about 7.5 seconds of gap. Heitai has 3 seconds, although Will Ann's behind him has 6. Monkey Mafia has 3 seconds of penalty. So Grumpy old Catman might get that position. Looks like Humble Hippo's going to get the position on Nehru Nix, as Nehru Nix essentially has to make at least 3 seconds of gap here to negate the time penalties that they have. Spool and Dub picking up 3 seconds for multiple warnings. Detail trying everything he can to get back to Humble Hippo. Forza Juve getting around Guitar Maniac there. Nicely done move from Forza Juve. Though Guitar Maniac, I don't think it's quite done yet. Guitar Maniac seems to be struggling with the loss of downforce on his car. It looks like Division 3 had themselves a wild race today. Not really sure. Fusail has started his final lap of the Hungaroring. Now, assuming nothing catastrophic happens, he's going to go back-to-back. But the rest of the field looks like 8 Eltonian getting around Guitar Maniac. Going through turn number 12. A nice move there. Humble Hippo still doing everything he can to try to make his move around Nehru Nix. Detail not that far behind either. But more importantly, Fusail had a questionable box call strategy from Uncle Ben's Rice go his way. And now Fusail coming round turn 14 in low fuel mode nonetheless. He's got the drink in him. He's going back-to-back. Fusail taking the win here in Hungary. Ben's Rice, 5 seconds. Heitai most likely finishing 3rd. Hightower picking up 5 seconds for an unserved penalty. But Heitai Gaming most likely taking P3 here. Let's see if Humble Hippo can get around Nehru Nix. This is still an interesting battle here on the final lap of the race. Humble Hippo trying to get to him. Humble Hippo missing a shift on exit of turn 11. Yellow flag over there in Sector 2. Are some of these drivers going into low fuel mode, perhaps? Monkey Mafia, P6 for him. Nicely done. The Humble Hippo. Oh, look at Detail. He jumps up into 7th. Wow. So Fusail in the Haas. Back-to-back wins. Very nicely done there, Uncle Ben's Rice. Getting a little bit of a redemption round after last week. Very nicely done from the Haas team. Fusale, he's got some absolute pace in that car, and I'm sure Gunther Steiner will not be smashing any doors today. And so I think the biggest winners today has to be that Williams team. But as we go through the order, Fusale taking first place, Uncle Ben's Rice second, Hey Tight in third, Will Ann's fourth, Grumpy Old Catman in fifth, sixth, Monkey Mafia seventh, Detail eighth, Humble Hippo ninth, Forza Juve 10th, Niru Nix 11th, 8 Eltonian 12th, Guitar Maniac 13th, Saffron City 14th, Spoon Up 15th, Cheek Rates 16th, Hightower 17th, M Galloway 18th, Ray 46, 19th, Noganator, and rounding out the field in P20 is El Capitano, and we're going to get to those interviews right now. Okay, I'm here with our podium finishers, Fusale, Uncle Ben's Rice, and Hey Tight Gaming. A very, very good race from you guys. Hey Tight, I'll start with you. Now, Hey Tight, this was one of those races that strategy was going to play a very key and important part here. And I tell you what, get back-to-back third-place finishes. I tell you what, a very good performance from you. But how much did you take into consideration the strategy going into this race?
Well, it really was a tough choice. At first, I thought of doing what Fusale did to get the win, which was to do a one-stop from soft to hard, but being not only a pad user but a very aggressive driver throughout the race, I knew that if I was doing that, I would be at a high risk of either a puncture, like I got in Australia, or of spinning out. But I knew that if I took the two-stop, it would be very, very difficult to make up the time necessary to recover and get perhaps a first place. And I took the risk, took the two-stop, and it was very close to paying out. However, I was stuck in a lot of traffic during the race after I did my first and second stop, which lost me out on some precious seconds, but other than that, I'd say it was pretty successful in the long run.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's been a very good day for you and the Ferrari team in general. Very nicely done there. Any early predictions for the Austria Grand Prix this weekend? Also, you guys should probably stay around to the end of this because we do have some special announcements to make at the end of this, so definitely stick around for that. But yeah, any predictions for this weekend?
Well, I'm going to stick by my prediction I made when you offered that query in the Division 2 chat, which was, I believe that Red Bull will get a 1-2. Their pace here is incredibly strong. Max just pulled a Hamilton and had a ridiculous lead upon second place. And Checo, while he did get a really solid P4, I think he will perhaps maybe manage to get at least a front row spot, maybe a lockout, but if he can get third place in qualifying and pass a Mercedes, or Mercedes somehow ends up having a mistake, then hopefully that happens. And I don't want to jinx it, because I jinxed it last time, but George Russell is going to get at least 1 point for Williams. That car just seems to be doing extremely well at Austria, and I will stand by it. If that technical failure hadn't happened, he would have gotten at least P8, maybe a P7,
easily.
Considering Alonso's pace. It just seemed like all the cards are on the table, but just unlucky for him.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on the double podium back-to-back. Third place last week in Brazil, third place today here at the Hungaroring. Uncle Ben's Rice, I tell you what, a bit of a redemption round for you after the incident last week and then coming out and finishing second today. I tell you what, it was one of those strategy races. Now, you boxed towards the end of the race. Was that a planned stop for you?
Yeah, I was planning on doing a two-stop, but I had a feeling I was coming up short because, what's his name? Fusale was keeping up with me on the same pace with the hard, so I kind of knew that I would have a lot to catch up on the soft, but came up short just by a little.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was a very, very good showing despite that, and I tell you what, you definitely got the better of Will Ann's today. In fact, if we look at the Drivers' Championship, you're still not that far off either. I mean, it's a decent gap. It's about, what is that, like 40 points going into the race. But I tell you what, 2 races still left to go, and hopefully this will build some momentum for you. Now, you've got France and you've got Singapore, the final 2 races of the season. Do you think you can give Will Ann's a big, big run for his money here?
Yeah, I'm not so sure about Singapore, but France is definitely one of my better tracks because I like high-speed tracks. But I mean, it's all down to consistency at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on the second place. It's been a pleasure getting you back here on the podium. It's definitely been in the works for some time, so congratulations to you. And Fusail, you've gone back-to-back here in Division 2. A very, very solid race. Again, one of those strategy races. How much was that on your mind going into it?
Yeah, definitely was surprised to see most people, everyone starting on the softs. I feel like a medium hard, even though a two-stop is, if you were driving by yourself, I don't think they're that far apart. But obviously you're not driving by yourself, right? Like you're going to be stuck behind other cars and it's very hard to overtake and you're just going to get held up through two out of the three sectors. So it just made a lot more sense to do a one stop basically, and I think I put in a decent enough lap on the mediums to start in the top 10. And I feel like an early safety car would have screwed me over by early, like lap 3 to 5 safety car would have completely done my racing, but lap 1 safety car where no one decided to quit as well kind of helped me out because I was just able to hang on for that extra couple laps without losing much time. So yeah, I think the strategy just ended up working out very, very nicely.
And I tell you what, and a lot of people tried following suit with that as well, and the safety car definitely threw a wrench into everyone's plans, but I tell you what, it was very, very a good race from you, and you played it smart as well. You did the right thing, you didn't let the safety car freak you out any, and you got the result because of it. Any predictions for the Austria Grand Prix tomorrow? Austria Part 2 this weekend.
I'm gonna predict, this is a bold prediction apparently, I feel like Charles Leclerc will get on the podium.
Really?
That's
That is a decently...
That's what I'm rooting for anyway.
I tell you what, he definitely showed some serious pace last time. He definitely has the possibilities of happening. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Now, we do have a couple of big announcements to make straight from the desk of Pork Chops. And I tell you what, the first thing is that on July 22nd, the best drivers from Midwest F1 and LFR will go head-to-head, and that's going to be a huge event there, so we're definitely going to be looking out for that. That's going to be mega fun, and I think also what we're going to do as well is me and Crash potentially are going to take over the broadcast for LFR, and the LFR guys are going to take over the broadcast for Midwest F1, kind of do a language swap there, so that's going to be really cool. We're going to have a all-new point structure for next season. I was told not to go that far into it, but to be completely honest with you guys, it's a little too confusing to me, and I haven't figured it out just yet. So, don't worry about that. And then finally, Pork has pulled the trigger and has thrown in a 5th division to the league for next season. So definitely exciting things in the works here in Midwest F1. And so thank you all for watching. I tell you what, Hungary, definitely not one of my favorite tracks, probably one of my least favorite tracks, but it's put together a very, very fun race today. And hopefully we'll get more of the same next week at France. For myself and all of us here in Midwest F1, thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next week.